They say every neighborhood has that one person who takes the HOA too seriously. But in Brookside Grove, that person didn't just file complaints. She built her own private patrol. When she sent fake cops to vandalize our home again, Grandpa decided enough was enough, and this time he didn't call the board. He called on 240 volts of old school justice. Before we get into it, welcome to the HOA Karen Stories. Hit that like button, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. Meet Samuel Briggs, Air Force engineer turned quiet gardener. To most, he was just the old man who waved at everyone, tinkered in his garage, and handed out fresh tomatoes every summer. But beneath that calm, steady nature was the same discipline that once guided military aircraft through storms. And he'd seen enough storms to know you don't reason with bullies, you outlast them. The problem began with Linda Preston, the self appointed guardian of Brookside Grove. She wasn't officially on the HOA board, but her word carried the weight of a gavel. Everything had to meet her idea of perfection: lawn height, mailbox color, even the tone of porch decorations. And enforcing her rules was Brett Colson, a former mall cop who never got over losing his badge. Stocky, bald, and always in a black tactical vest labeled HOA security, Brett strutted around like a sheriff in a one-street town. No one hired him. No one could stop him. He just appeared one day with two buddies and declared himself law. Together, Linda and Brett treated the neighborhood like a miniature dictatorship. The rest of us kept our heads down. Everyone except Grandpa Sam. It started on a misty Thursday morning, just before dawn. I was half asleep, pouring cereal, when Grandpa's rocker creaked on the porch. "There he goes again," he said quietly. Through the fence slats, I saw flashlights flicker. Brett and two others were scaling our fence, snapping pictures of Grandpa's tomato plants like they were contraband. They claimed the plants violated aesthetic regulations. Imagine that, an 80-year-old veteran growing tomatoes was apparently a threat to the neighborhood. Grandpa filed a report, but when the sheriff called the HOA, Linda laughed it off. "They're just ensuring compliance, Mr. Briggs. Don't make a fuss." That was the last straw. Grandpa didn't shout or argue. He just stood there, calm as ever, and said, "If they come again, I'll make sure they remember why fences exist." For the next 3 days, he was a man on a mission. The hum of power tools filled the garage. Sparks flickered in the dark as he soldered wires and ran lines through the wrought iron gate. I helped where I could, fetching screwdrivers, watching him work like a craftsman with purpose. By Sunday, the gate gleamed like new. A bright yellow sign read, "Warning, electrified gate. Trespassers will be shocked." And everything he did? 100% legal under state electrical code. Grandpa knew the law better than they did. At exactly 5:27 a.m. the next morning, the sound came again. Boots on gravel, low voices whispering. I peeked through the curtains. Brett was back, phone in hand, muttering about violations. Grandpa didn't move from his chair. He took a slow sip of coffee and murmured, "Let's see if they can read." Brett reached for the gate latch. Snap! A flash of blue light. Then a yelp so loud it woke the whole street. Brett jumped back, waving his arm and stumbling into the dirt while his officers froze like statues. I nearly choked holding back laughter. Grandpa just smiled and kept sipping his coffee. Within minutes, real flashing lights appeared, the sheriff's deputies, summoned not by us but by Linda herself. She came storming down the street in her robe, shouting that Grandpa had assaulted her security team. The deputies reviewed our footage. Brett trespassing, ignoring posted warnings, and impersonating officers. Their faces told the story before the words did. Brett was fined for trespassing and impersonating a security professional. Linda was cited for false reporting and authorizing illegal activity. The HOA board scrambled into emergency session. 2 weeks later, Linda was stripped of her influence, Brett's security unit was dissolved, and a public apology was issued to Grandpa. For the first time in years, Brookside Grove felt quiet again. A few weeks later, the new HOA president stopped by with flowers and a handshake. "We're sorry for what you went through," she said. Grandpa smiled. "All I ever wanted was peace and tomatoes." That line stuck with me. Because here's the thing, real power doesn't come from a badge or a title. It comes from knowing when to stand your ground and how to do it right. You can bully people, twist rules, or hide behind authority, but eventually the truth bites back. Sometimes the quiet man on the porch isn't powerless, he's just patient. If you like this story, hit that like button, share it, and tell us, would your grandpa have done the same? And don't forget to subscribe to the HOA Karen Stories for more true tales of karma, justice, and neighborhood chaos that prove one thing. Every self appointed HOA hero eventually meets someone who plays by their rules and wins.